Before you can access or manage any resource in Azure, you need identity and access management in place. That's where Microsoft Entra ID comes in. It's the backbone for authentication and authorization in the Microsoft Cloud. You use Entra ID to sign in, define who you are, and control what you're allowed to do. But here's the key. Having an identity in Entra ID doesn't automatically give you access to Azure resources. That's where the trust relationship between your Entra ID tenant and an Azure subscription comes into play. What is the trust relationship? You can think of it this way. Your Microsoft Entra ID tenant is like your identity office. It knows who you are. Your Azure subscription is like your bank account. It holds your resources, such as virtual machines, databases, apps, etc. The trust relationship is the bridge that connects the two. It tells Azure, I trust this Entra ID tenant to authenticate and authorize users. This relationship allows Azure to trust Entra ID when someone tries to manage or access something inside the subscription. Without it, Azure wouldn't know where to check who you are. When you create a new Azure subscription, it's automatically linked to a default Entra ID tenant, usually the one tied to the Microsoft account you use during sign up. From there, roles and access permissions are managed using Azure Role-Based Access Control. You assign users from the Entra ID tenant to roles like owner, contributor, or reader inside the subscription. Azure relies on Entra ID to verify user identities and group memberships. Only users and service principals from the trusted Entra ID tenant can be granted access to that subscription. Can you change or add trusts? Not directly. A subscription is tied to one and only one Entra ID tenant at a time. However, you can transfer a subscription to another tenant with some planning. You can also invite external users via B2B collaboration and assign them roles in your subscription. They authenticate using their own Entra ID but are treated as guests in your tenant. This makes collaboration with partners, consultants, or other organizations secure and manageable. Understanding this trust model is crucial for designing multi-tenant architectures, managing access control across large organizations, enforcing security boundaries, and planning for subscription migrations or B2B access. Without this trust bridge, you wouldn't be able to define who can access what in Azure. It's the glue between identity and resources. So, what's your key takeaway? Microsoft Entra ID authenticates who you are. Azure subscriptions authorize what you can do, and the trust relationship connect the two. You manage identities in Entra ID and assign roles in Azure, all within the boundaries of that trust. Whether you're a cloud admin, security engineer, or architect, understanding this trust model helps you design access that's both secure and scalable.